My spouse requested a one-time exemption to be with another person for his 40th birthday, and when I refused, he expressed regret. But then I uncovered a hotel receipt and learned he had betrayed me with my closest friend. I never thought my marriage would collapse over something as ridiculous as a one-time pass. My husband and I have been partners for a decade, wed for 8 years. We have 2 children, ages 7 and 4, and until recently I believed our relationship was strong. I'm a stay-at-home parent while he has a career in finance. Our life was hectic, but I didn't sense any cracks in our foundation. When he brought up wanting a free pass to sleep with someone else for his 40th, I was stunned. I initially assumed he was kidding. I laughed it off, saying, "Absolutely not, that's not happening." But he pressed on, suggesting it could add excitement to our marriage and insisting it wouldn't change his feelings for me. I was floored that he'd even suggest it. It sparked a heated argument where I told him his request was offensive. He acted like it was no big issue. I made it clear that I found it repulsive and would never agree. The discussion ended with me storming off, crying and furious. He let the topic go after that fight. The next day, he apologized, claiming it was a thoughtless comment tied to turning 40 and feeling unsettled. He called it a midlife crisis joke that misfired. I wasn't fully convinced, but I wanted to move forward. The whole ordeal left me uneasy, but we soon returned to our usual routine. I never gave him any permission, and he seemed to drop the idea. We marked his 40th at home with the kids and a dinner I prepared. He was quieter than usual, but I chalked it up to him feeling the weight of his age or perhaps some guilt. I tried to put it behind us and make his day special. My best friend, whom I'll call Sarah, even dropped by that evening with a cake. It was a low-key celebration, but he said he appreciated it. A week later, I discovered he had already planned to betray me, with Sarah of all people. It's still nauseating to think about. It turned out that when he asked for the pass, he wasn't speaking hypothetically. He had someone specific in mind. Without my knowledge, he and Sarah had arranged a hotel meetup. I found out by chance while handling our finances, as I do since I'm home. A credit card charge for a pricey city hotel dated 2 days after his birthday caught my eye. At first, I thought it was an error. We hadn't stayed anywhere, but something felt wrong. I checked his email since we share passwords and he's never hidden them before. There it was, a hotel booking confirmation in his name for one night. Then I saw he'd forwarded it to Sarah. My stomach dropped as I realized my best friend was involved. She's been my confidant since college, my maid of honor at our wedding. I trusted her completely, and this blindsided me. That night after the kids were asleep, I confronted him. I showed him the email and demanded to know if he'd met Sarah at that hotel. He initially denied it, claiming he only booked the room to test if I'd allow the pass, a flimsy excuse. I called him out, asking why he'd sent the email to Sarah. He froze, then crumbled, admitting they'd been texting and that she agreed to fulfill his birthday wish. In other words, he propositioned my best friend behind my back, and she went along with it. I was livid and heartbroken. He insisted it was a one-time thing, purely physical, with no emotional attachment. He tried to minimize it, as if Sarah was just doing him a favor. I asked if they'd actually slept together at the hotel. He confessed they had. I went numb. I told him to leave. He resisted, saying we needed to talk, that it was a mistake. But this wasn't a spontaneous slip-up. He planned it, even after I said no. I ended up yelling that I wanted him out of the house. I didn't want the kids to wake up, so I tried to hold it together, but I was seething. He eventually grabbed some things and left, probably to a hotel or a friend's place. I didn't care where. Once he was gone, I broke down. I barely slept. I haven't confronted Sarah yet. I don't even know what to say to her. She knew exactly what she was doing. She was at my house on his birthday, acting normal while secretly planning to betray me 2 days later. Who does that? Right now, I'm a wreck. I'm furious, hurt, and lost. I've reached out to a divorce lawyer because I can't see a way forward. It's not just the infidelity. It's that he asked for permission, I refused, and he did it anyway with the person I trusted most. As a stay-at-home mom, I'm scared about what this means for me and the kids, but staying with him isn't an option. I haven't told the kids anything yet. They're too young to grasp it, and I dread that conversation. I've ignored my husband's calls and texts because the betrayal cuts too deep. Everything unraveled in just a week. A decade of marriage gone. I'm angry, heartbroken, and uncertain about the future, but I know I can't stay. Thanks for letting me vent. This has been weighing on me. Update 1. It's been about a week since I learned of the affair. Thank you for the support and comments. It's comforting to know I'm not alone. A lot has happened recently. I finally confronted my former best friend, Sarah. She'd been texting and calling constantly, but I wasn't ready to respond until now. Yesterday, I let her come over to talk. I ensured the kids were at my parents' for the afternoon to avoid any disruptions. Seeing Sarah walk into my home felt surreal. She was like family, and now I could barely stand her presence. She started crying immediately. I was a mix of rage and an odd calm. Maybe I'd cried myself out already. I told her to sit and explain. Sarah shared her side, or at least what she claims is the truth. She said my husband had been complaining to her for months about our lackluster intimate life since having kids. She claimed she told him to discuss it with me, but he kept pushing. Around his birthday, he mentioned considering a one-time pass and told her I was open to it. I call that nonsense. I'd never agree to such a thing, and she should have known. I think she's just trying to ease her guilt by claiming he misled her. He may have twisted the truth, but she still chose to betray me. She admitted they'd been flirting via text for a while, though she called it playful banter. On his birthday, when she brought the cake, they'd already planned the hotel meetup for 2 days later. I nearly gagged remembering that night, how normal it seemed while they schemed behind my back. Sarah kept apologizing, saying she regretted it immediately and that it was a one-time thing. She claimed that after I found out and kicked him out, my husband panicked and begged her to stay silent. She said she planned to confess, but I found the evidence first. I mostly listened, asking blunt questions when I spoke. I asked how long she'd been attracted to my husband, because you don't just sleep with someone as a casual favor. She denied having feelings for him, saying it just happened. She admitted she was lonely after a rough breakup and craved connection, making a terrible choice. It was a weak excuse, and I told her so. I said she betrayed me in the worst way and that I might never forgive her. She sobbed, saying she understood and hated herself. She reached for my hand and I pulled away, telling her not to touch me. Then she dropped a bombshell. She's pregnant, about 6 weeks along. That news hit me like a freight train. She quickly clarified that she doesn't think it's my husband's, as she'd been casually seeing another man and the timeline aligns with him. She said they used protection at the hotel and it was only once. Still, hearing pregnant shook me. I asked if my husband knew. She said she told him recently and he knows it's unlikely his. But there's still uncertainty until it's confirmed. I emotionally shut down at that point. I just nodded, said, "Thanks for telling me," and asked her to leave. She begged me not to cut her off, saying she'd do anything to make it right, but we both know that's impossible. I told her I needed space and made her go. She left crying. I sat in silence for hours trying to process it all. My best friend is pregnant with a slim chance my husband could be the father. As for my husband, we haven't spoken in person since I threw him out. We've texted only about practical matters. He knows I'm aware of the pregnancy. He texted that he's sorry and wants to talk face to face. I'm not ready for that. I've been focusing on the kids and my lawyer. I had a consultation with an attorney who explained that as a stay-at-home mom, I'm likely entitled to a fair share of assets, spousal support, and child support. We haven't filed yet, but I plan to. She advised gathering financial records and evidence of the affair, which I've saved. In my state, infidelity might have a small impact on divorce, but it's mostly no fault, so it may not matter much legally. Still, I want it documented. I'm in limbo, avoiding my husband except for kid-related matters. He sees the kids briefly every few evenings, but I keep our interactions short. He's staying with his parents, I learned. I told the kids daddy's at grandma's for a bit. The 7-year-old is a little confused, but I'm keeping their routine stable. Emotionally, I'm a mess, angry one moment, grieving the next. But I know I can't stay with him. Trust is gone. So that's my reality. Navigating a divorce, grappling with betrayal by my husband and best friend, and now a possible pregnancy complication. It's overwhelming. I'll update when I know more about the pregnancy and divorce. Update 2. A couple of weeks have passed, and it's still a whirlwind. First, some relief on the pregnancy front. Sarah had an early ultrasound, and the dates make it nearly impossible for my husband to be the father. She contacted the other man she was seeing, who agreed to a prenatal paternity test, a simple blood draw. The results confirmed he's the father, not my husband. That's one less nightmare to deal with for me and the kids. It doesn't erase their betrayal, but it simplifies things moving forward. I officially told my husband I'm proceeding with the divorce. We finally had a face-to-face talk a few days ago, our first real conversation since the fallout. Until then, it was just texts or lawyer communications. He kept asking to meet, and I agreed, wanting to speak my mind and hear him out without the kids around. He came over after they were in bed. Sitting across from him at our kitchen table, discussing the end of our marriage, was painfully awkward. He started with another apology, saying he regretted hurting me. I let him finish, then told him apologies don't undo the damage. I said I'd never trust him again, and our marriage was over. He begged me to reconsider, suggesting counseling for the kid's sake. I let him talk, but my face must have shown it was futile. I reminded him I gave him a chance when I said no to the pass, and he betrayed me anyway. I also mentioned I knew he'd been complaining to Sarah about our intimate life. He didn't deny it. He kept saying he was in a dark place, feeling unappreciated and having a midlife crisis. I scoffed, asking if his crisis plan was to destroy our family. I was sharp, but I had no patience for his excuses. He cried, saying he hated himself. I felt detached. I'd already shed my tears. He tried to downplay Sarah's role, saying she meant nothing. Funny how she was worth risking everything for, but now she's nothing. Eventually, he got frustrated when I wouldn't budge on divorce. He asked if I was really going to ruin our family over one mistake, claiming he's a good father. That infuriated me. I told him he broke our family, not me. I made it clear I won't keep the kids from him, but our marriage is done. We discussed logistics. I said I want to stay in the house for now, for the kids' stability, since I have nowhere else to go. He agreed. He mentioned he's looking for an apartment to move out of his parents' place. On custody, he wants to be heavily involved, which I support, but he mentioned 50-50 custody. I'm cautious, not to exclude him, but because he's never managed daily parenting alone. I suspect he's also thinking about reducing child support. I said we'd work it out with lawyers. The next day, my lawyer said his attorney contacted her. He's lawyered up as expected. His initial proposals push for equal custody and selling the house to split the equity, which would disrupt the kids. It's what I anticipated. He's trying to protect his finances while playing devoted dad. It's aggravating, but progress is happening. I'm staying with my parents and the kids this week for a breather. My mom is livid at him, but stays civil for the kids. His parents are more complicated. His mom called once, saying she was disappointed in both of us. Him for cheating, me for rushing to divorce. I shut that down fast. So divorce talks are moving, the baby isn't his, and tensions are high as we navigate custody and assets. It's tough, but there's some clarity. Update 3. 2 months later, the divorce process is intense. Negotiations over custody and finances are draining. We have a temporary custody plan. He gets the kids every other weekend and one weeknight. It's what I suggested as a test, since he wanted significant time and I want the kids to have their dad. Surprisingly, he's been reliable. Kids come back fed, homework done. But he's still pushing for 50-50 custody long-term. I'm doubtful, given his demanding job. He's likely on his best behavior for the court. I know he loves the kids, but I've always handled most of their care. He wants to introduce the kids to a new apartment once he moves out of his parents' place. I told my lawyer I'm not okay with constant shuffling until things stabilize. She said courts often prioritize stability for young kids, favoring one primary home, which I hope is with me since I've been their main caregiver. It's about their routine, not punishment. Financially, it's contentious. As a stay-at-home mom, I have no income, having paused my career for our family. He initially offered minimal spousal support, pushing me to get a job fast. That angered me. Not because I won't work, I'm job hunting part-time, but because I supported his career by managing the home, and now he's acting like I'm after his money. My lawyer countered with what a court would likely award, and he eased up, but it's left resentment. Asset division isn't finalized, especially the house. He wanted to sell it immediately, but I argued for staying put for the kids' sake, at least until our oldest finishes elementary school. Moving would be too disruptive. After debates and some pressure from his dad, he agreed to let us stay for now, with a plan to sell or refinance later. Emotionally, I'm in survival mode. Between kids, legal battles, and job searches, I barely process the pain. I still have moments where the betrayal hits hard. I haven't spoken to Sarah since our last talk. She sent a handwritten letter to my parents' house, apologizing again and saying she's moving to her sister's to have her baby. I read it, felt conflicted, and put it away. I have nothing to say to her. Maybe I'll release the anger someday, but she's out of my life. My ex and I are civil, sticking to kid-related texts. He's accepted I'm set on divorce and has stopped pleading, focusing on saving face. His lawyer likely advised cooperation to avoid a drawn-out fight. My parents and a few loyal friends, not connected to Sarah or my ex, are my lifeline. Some friends cut Sarah off when they heard. It's shown me who's truly there for me. The kids are managing. The 7-year-old asks why Daddy doesn't live here, which breaks my heart. I say we both love them, but we're living apart to be better parents. The 4-year-old is mostly unaware, enjoying time with grandparents and Dad's outings. It's tough, but we're moving toward resolution. I can see a new chapter ahead once the legal mess is done. Update 4. 9 months since this began, the divorce is finalized. The papers are signed, assets divided, and we're moving forward. Closing a 10-year marriage feels strange, but I'm relieved it's over. The settlement works for both of us. I have primary custody, with him getting every other weekend, 1 weeknight, and shared holidays. He backed off 50-50 custody, admitting his job makes it tough. It's the routine we'd been testing, and it suits the kids. We attended our older child's school play separately but civilly, focusing on our kids' moment. I kept the house by giving him a larger share of savings and retirement funds, with a plan to refinance later. I'm receiving spousal and child support, which helps. I landed a part-time job, not much, but a start. Balancing work and single parenting is hard, but my parents and daycare help. My ex is now just a co-parent. Our interactions are polite and kid-focused. He's trying to make amends by being a dependable dad. At our final mediation, he gave a sincere apology for the pain he caused. I acknowledged it, but said forgiveness is a process. I may never fully let go, but I won't let it disrupt co-parenting. We communicate about school and schedules efficiently. Sarah is out of my life. I heard she had a healthy baby girl. I wish her well for her child's sake, but want no contact. Betrayal changed everything. Reflecting on this year, it's surreal how fast my life shifted. From devoted wife to divorced single mom, it's been a journey. The pain lingers, but it's less frequent. I'm at peace with leaving. It was the right choice. This is likely my final update. I'm ready to focus on rebuilding and ensuring my kids are happy. Thank you for the support. It meant the world.